Hello friends, it's Chrissy. Welcome to or back to my channel. And today I thought we would talk about the potential changing of the guard for the month of September. So my draws have been the same more or less since early in May. So this is my deck. This is the Narrative Alchemy Tarot. This is the actual produced version. For a good part of May, I was using a homemade version of this deck, but my primary card, my anchor card, has been chosen from this deck, from the Narrative Alchemy Tarot, and then I've chosen two supportive cards, two additional information cards from the Tarot of the Drowning World. I tried to bring in a couple of other decks. I think it was in July, and this deck continued to just say, no, Chrissy, we're not done yet. So as much as I love this deck, I'm fighting a sneeze, by the way. So if I sound weird and like weird breath, that's why. I love this deck. But I have a lot of decks that, I have a lot of decks, and I want to, and I'm already studying the guided hands and the tarot volatile. So I feel like, and that study is with Tarot School, and that's going to keep going through the middle of October. So the only real opportunity I have to introduce a deep dive into a deck right now is where my daily draws are. So I don't think the Tarot of the Drowning World is ready to go, but I thought if there was one deck that could maybe come in and be a little bit of a substitute for a bit, it is the older sibling, the Carnival at the End of the World. Both of these are created by Con and Selesnik. Both guidebooks were written by Sarah Faulkner, and I'm hoping that like the balance of the energy, that the similarity from the creator and the guidebook author, that maybe I can just put this energy aside a little bit. Although I will tell you, when I was putting this deck in order, it was almost just resistant. I don't know any other way to say it. This deck was like, I hope you don't think you're done. So I don't know. My intention, my full intention, is to move my daily practice from the Tarot of the Drowning World to the Carnival at the End of the World. And to, even though I'm still working with Tarot Volatile for September, for my work, my study, my curiosity that I present here on YouTube, to be based on the Carnival at the End of the World. Now, I can't promise that that'll be the case, because this deck and Tarot Volatile speak to me. Like there's personalities, there's a soul. And I want to give a chance to develop that with other decks, but I recognize that there is a possibility that the Tarot of the Drowning World may be my deck for September. I don't know, but this is what I'm toying with. this changing of the guard per se. Before I show you the decks, let's look at the guidebooks. The guidebooks are phenomenal. These are two of I realize I have a lot of favorite guidebooks. Like I love the Kawaii Tarot guidebook. I love the guidebook for the Mesquite Tarot, but these are also incredibly useful. The writings are short but thought-provoking. We have the black and white pictures of the card. That's structured very similarly, that's a hard word to say, for the Tarot with the Drowning World, with lots of information for the majors and a little more for the minors than the Carnival at the End of the World. But I think that's fair, because there is more where this is more pip. These are illustrated minors. So of course there would need to be a little more information in reading pips versus reading the illustrated minors. So I thought I would just flip through these two side by side to kind of give me a chance to have a gut reaction and to show you how two different decks from the same creator and the same guidebook author can have similar but different feels. So both of these are done on a linen cardstock. The Tarot with the Drowning World is quite a bit taller than Carnival at the End of the World. This one is not shuffleable riffle because it's too long. It's too long for my hands. I can manage the Carnival at the End of the World, but it feels very much similar to the Pagan Otherworlds. It's just a little too tall to be comfortable. And the names are going to get long, so I'm going to refer to these from this point out as Drowning World and Carnival. Or maybe just Drowning and Carnival, we'll see. But I know I won't get the ofs and the fours and the worlds in the right places. So here we go. So this is the full, seeing both of them with red hats, where the figure here has all of the tentacles on the fingers. I feel like that's kind of representative of all of the hanging, the hanging puppets off of the staff here, where we have the monkey and the bananas here. We have a couple of musical instruments in this card. I also want to acknowledge that I put these in order with Roman numerals and French. So you may see me having to adjust numbers here or there, or to get talking through a card and be like, wait, that's not right. Just wanted to acknowledge that. We have here the Magician, and I think what I see as similarities here is the covering of the head versus the head looking up, or like the separation from the skull and the head here. And again, we have red around the feet. It's interesting how much clothing this magician has on, where this magician has the open shirt. For the Empress, the High Priestess, we have the antlers in common between the two. Herschel just walked in. We'll see if she comes to see us. And the sheer dress are similar between the two cards. For the Empress, oh, friends, I think I might be able to do this. For the Empress, we have the same prairie style dress between the two cards. And even though we don't see the Empress's face at all, and here she is looking away, there's the same sort of feeling of not really being acknowledged from the Empress in these two cards. For the Emperor, we have the wand in common. I'm just drawn into this card. We have the red jacket and the red shirt in common as well. For the Hierophants, there's not a whole lot in common here that I'm seeing right away. We have there's a lot of green in this card, and of course a lot of green over here. We have the beheaded figure here to match the lamb in the drowning card. And the fish could also be matched with the lamb here. For the Lovers, we have the two figures. Here we have the eyes closed. Here we have the eyes open. For the Chariot, we have the feet being visible in common. We have the concept of everything that's trying to be held and carried, and the difficulty in the terrain, where we have the stones here and we have the crash of the chariot in this card. as I'm looking around for antlers or alligators, for any other thing that may be in both cards. Let me switch strength and justice here. I read them independent of their numbers, but I tend to put strength at 8 in my own brain. But for justice, we do have the plates to match with the scales. Do we have fish or hearts? Nope, don't see a lot in common there. For the hermit, of course, we have the lantern, we have the gaze looking toward the future. Just random tidbit that I learned studying the guidebook. This lantern here was added post-production. The entire lantern, not just the light. It's not in the original photo in the guidebook. That didn't sit with me very well when I first saw it, but we're doing okay. You may see me keep checking my watch because sometimes my phone just decides it doesn't want to record. So if I see the clock going up here, then I know that we're still recording. For the Wheel of Fortune, of course, we have the wheel. This is interesting how we have the wheel that he's balancing on and the wheel that he is turning. And then here in this wheel, it's kind of hard to see, but we actually have the cards from the Carnival deck in the wheel, which I think is just fantastically stunning. And we have both creatures here both figures making music. For strength, we have the lion, we have the red dress. Yeah, lots of similar imagery here. I had not noticed, and I'm so glad I put these together. For the hangman here, the markings on the figures are the same. So even though this figure is being flown away and carried by a bird, and the knee is pointed straight ahead instead of in the traditional tree figure, the tree position, the markings on the body are the same. And I kind of love that. I feel like this may be an anchor that when I'm feeling drawn back to this deck, that this hangman may be an anchor to be able to stay with it. I also love that I realize this is a land formation here, but it also reminds me of fluorite. And fluorite is our like our emotional vacuum cleaner. It just removes the daily dirt, dust, and grime. And thinking about how the hangman can also be just it doesn't have to be like a tower moment. It can just be getting rid of the daily gunk that no longer serves us. For death, we have the skeleton, where death here is on a horse. Death is holding a doll of some figure here. And then, of course, all of the bones and skulls scattered around. Death here is wearing a hat, where death over here is wearing a flower crown. I don't know that I can leave this deck. Oh, this is gonna be so hard. For temperance, I think this is really interesting. We have a similar, I think the motif here of the trees and the hill kind of match the flowers that surround her. Temperance here is looking back, where temperance here is in the present. And here there's this true alchemy of everything that's being held, where here it's like some things are kept and other things are being alchemized. I just made up a word, maybe, I don't know. Different, but fine. For the devil, of course, we have the color red. I really love the bells here. I'm really curious how this reads in the guidebook, and also with the levers here being in the hands of the devil. I like this devil. This one's always fallen kind of flat for me. Yeah, I like this devil. We can work with this. For the Tower, this is experiencing destruction. This is like bringing destruction. Completely different energy, I think. For the Star, again, this is holding the energy. This is the energy like coming, feeling the energy coming from the inside out, where the Star I feel is more experiencing the energy. They're just different to me. For the Moon, these feel very similar, with some adornment at the top of her head, being surrounded by this support, this adornment, and going inside for the Mystery. This is, I think, one of the only cards where the figure is in a container, and that feels very similar to the containment here of this cocoon-like structure. For the Sun, the colors are so strikingly similar, and if you squint, it's like they almost look the same. Judgment. We have the horns. Oh, she's in a container too. Did I miss that? Is it just the Moon and Judgment? Yeah. Interesting. And then we have the World. I think, like, facially, they look very similar. I love so much the two mirrors placed here to show the reflection of where we are in the present and how our past has informed that, and how our experience can help us understand the future. There's a sense of freedom and peace in this world, where this one, I can't tell if he's carrying the world and holding the world up, or if he's being held by the world. So to me, this world is much more peaceful and resolution, where this one is we don't have all of that just yet. Moving on to the cups, these I expect the minors to move quicker, because there isn't a lot of these are pips. That's what I'm trying to say. So we have the Ace of Cups, the Two of Cups. I love the nod to the Pentacles here with all of this greenery in the Two of Cups. The Three of Cups. I don't get this card at all. That's going to be one to study. The Four of Cups. We have the mimicry here in the upside down green robe, and how that mirrors the greenery here. The Five of Cups. As I look for any snakes in the drowning world, I don't see any. The Six. Color-wise, they're similar. The Seven. And the Seven here. It's the cards from this deck. This is very meta. You can tell that's the box. And these are... Oh. I almost tried to zoom in like this to see what these cards were. Chrissy, that's ridiculous. The Eight of Cups. So color-wise, these are similar. So here we have the cream color, the 8, there's the blue, the 9 is red, and the 10 is black. Okay. Okay. Maybe some color matching here. We have the Page. I love it. I love the court cards in this deck so much. They are absolutely ridiculous, and I love them. Amen. The Knight. I love how they're the shape of a face is made with the element itself in the Terror of the Drowning World. The Queen of Cups and the King of Cups. Moving into the Pentacles, we have the Ace. This is one of my absolute favorite cards in this deck. Maybe, I was gonna say maybe favorite card ever, but the Four of Pentacles is coming up. I also love the Two of Pentacles very much. And I can see how the shape here resembles the face of the character in the Two of Pentacles. I think there's a decent amount of throwback here. The Three of Pentacles. We have the shape here of the purple figure kind of matching the maroon flowers here. I may be stretching, but this is what I'm gonna have to do to stay focused on this deck, to make these changes. This Four of Pentacles is by far my favorite Four of Pentacles, and I love this card. So that says a lot, but this. So yeah, this is fun, but it's not the Drowning World. We have the Five, the Six, the Seven. So these do kind of look juggled, as they do here. The Eight, we have a similar shape of the order. So in a line and in a line. The Nine and the 10. So we have mala beads here in the middle, which can kind of represent being wrapped sort of like these as the ribbons are. I don't see much other throwback there though. We have the Page. Now this is what I love. So in this deck, the Pentacles are bread. And in this deck, the Knight, which is the suit, the shape is made out of the suit, is bread. So where it has been coins throughout the suit, here in the Knight, we see bread as the throwback from this deck. The Queen looks very similar, of course. when the court cards here are made out of food, any food is going to that's visually going to make sense. And the King. I apologize if you all just heard my stomach growl, because it's serious right about now. Moving into the swords, we have the Ace with a very similar color scheme here with the charred and the icebergs down here. To me, this is visually very similar between the Two of Swords with the climbing, with the vertical shape here. The Three of Swords, I'm curious. I'm really curious about how the guidebook talks about this card. The Four, this card almost made me not work with the deck. And I love all of the fours. So having a Four of Swords that makes me uncomfortable, I guess is kind of the point. But I don't like it. It don't hurt. I just don't like it. that is a personal story for another day. It doesn't hurt. I just don't like it. We have the Five. We have the animals here with the snake and the raccoon, and then all of the iguanas, the lizards, whatever they are in this one. I love the Six of Swords, and I love here how the cattails and the reeds match the standing up here of the figure. And the swords, looking here how the swords are in bread, and what is the representation of bringing the pentacles in I love the cross suit thing that we're doing here in Carnival. The 7, how the reeds here, if you look, can almost be a figure with legs and arms and the head. The 8 of Swords. So this deck is really cheeky, and I know that things happen, but when I was putting the Carnival deck in order, I could not find the 8 of Swords. Like, it was just gone. And I'm like, I drew it 2 days ago. Where is it? I tore my office apart. And I'm like, okay, before I look for what additional card I can best represent the 8 of Swords, I'm like, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to put the Drowning World in order. And this card was stuck right in the middle. So, like, I'm sure, like, I don't think that, like, cards move on their own, but I found it really interesting that I have not played with them at the same time, and somehow one card from this deck was in here. I'm just saying. The 9 of Swords, I love this owl. I don't know what it's doing, but I can't wait to find out. The 10 of Swords. Again, we have the iguanas here as we have the crabs over here. The Page. I'm sure I'll talk about that as I work with the deck, so I'm going to leave that alone. The Knight of Swords. Again, the Knight is made out of the suit. I love this Knight of Swords. It was my card from Sincerely the Tarot, the month that Jordan did this deck, and I just can't stand how much I love this card. And this one, the Humpty Dumpty thing, it does nothing for me. I love this card. Guys, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can move on. The Queen of Swords here is painted very similar to the Hangman. I dig that. I dig that a lot. And the King. Moving to the Wands, I absolutely love the wands as batons. The Ace, the 2, the 3. I think it's interesting how in very few of these pictures is there actually a reflection of the sunlight. We don't see that very often. And I love that that shows up in the 3 of Wands, and how bringing that imagery of like looking forward. I love that imagery in here. Okay, 3 of Wands. The 4 of Wands, how the lettuces here kind of match the flags here on this character. The 5 of Wands, here we have another color match, a lot of orange. The 6 of Wands. The 7 of Wands. The 8 of Wands. Not seeing a whole lot of matching or partnership here. The 9 of Wands. This is a similar shape, balancing, supporting what's up here. And the blue at the bottom. So my Herschel cat is laying here on the floor, very happy, really thumping her tail. I really hope you all can hear that. The 10 of Wands, there is such a freedom in this 10 of Wands. And also in here, as we can see, the character in the middle is being released from, is going to come out of this fiery and taking off the crown. This is a stunning, oh my gosh. How green and lush we are inside of what is ready to burn. I had my hand over my mouth because I was just so in awe. So I hope you could, I hope that came across. This 10 of Wands is something else. The Knight. The Page as we're ready to move. but painted the same as the batons. Here we have another letting the sunlight reflect. The Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. So I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't study the bonus cards a lot in the Drowning World because they didn't come up. I think I drew this one once and that was it. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the Carnival at the End of the World, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Drowning World. So we have Dr. Falk, Madame Lulu, who is also in, oh, I didn't realize Dr. Falk was as well. This is interesting. So we have Dr. Falk in both decks. We have Madame Lulu with this similar arm shape. Madame Lulu is this is her tarot. So the decks are the creation of this energy. And we have Orlovsky. And I'm curious what the translation is for these two. Bonus cards. So this figure is the Dreamer. And I didn't know how to put cards in order. That's 26, right? Do I not have? Oh, here we are. I was going the wrong way in the guidebook, and this is the Drowned Man. So the Dreamer could almost be seen as too much. I thought I understood these, but no, I'm not sure. So the Dreamer is this idealistic energy, and then the Drowned Man being too much water, where the Inferno is too much fire, the Deluge is too much water, and the Tempest is too much wind. So there's obviously the too much water that comes into the Drowned Man here. So yeah, I think that I may just have to carry both of these with me. I don't know that I can say, I fully expected to come into this video with like, here, Chrissy's changing the guard for September. And I think instead I'm just adding a deck, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. The Drowning World just isn't ready to let me go, but that doesn't stop the Carnival from calling me. So we're going to be looking at both for September, looking at both of these alongside of my Narrative Alchemy Oracle. Tarot. I keep wanting to call it Oracle for some reason today. Actually, let's give them all a shuffle. Let's just do it. Let's go straight Dawn Michelle style. And let's do some side-by-sides because, you know, I haven't talked enough about these today, right? So I'll show you how they shuffle. So again, these will riffle and bridge. They don't bridge great because they're a little big for my hands. I can do it. But if I have one card too many, I can't hold it. It's a beautiful shuffle. It's just a little much. But it's fine. I mean, I would rather have, I don't consider the borders excessive. I think the borders are really nice, actually. So I don't feel like a need to cut them down to make the artwork, you know, whatever. No, that's not necessary. They're just a little big, you know. There's nothing wrong with that, right? These are definitely too big to riffle, so I just shuffle them from the side and they work just fine. I just make sure that I do an even amount of shuffling sideways from the back and shuffling sideways from the front so that I hopefully don't get too much of a bow in them. I mean, I've used them daily for 4 months and there's no bow. So if I was going to be concerned, I would have expected it to come to fruition by now. And then just to have a full deck, I'm gonna grab my draw for today. It was still sitting here. Yeah. Oh, there's another little printing error in this one. I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle my deck just so they're all equally balanced in the energy. And I feel like, this is funny. I still feel like this is the anchor. The energy of these decks is more, I think, the Carnival feeling more reflective and the Drowning World feeling more bossy. So how these look together, keeping the bonus cards in, we have how Inquire matches up with Too Much Fire and the High Priestess. How looking at our focus as it pairs with the Six of Wands and the Four of Swords. So using both. When this Six of Swords feels very much like I'm really attracted to the thorns on this. So everything else is going out the window. And I see being aware of our need for rest as a part of our focus. We have Sovereign paired with the Page of Cups and the Five of Swords. So alchemy here. Wow, this is big. So we have Temperance paired with Too Much Water and the Empress. Noticing this forward looking. I feel like this right here, this is the reason I did this video today. This feels very powerful to me. How is too much feeling maybe exactly what we need to create, to bring this energy together? Is too much feeling necessarily a bad thing when creation is what we're looking for? Okay, I'm gonna do one more. And with Solitude, we have Tempest? No. We have Too Much Wind in the Tempest and the Seven of Pentacles. So friends, this was what I thought was going to be a potential changing of the guard, which instead turned into a, I guess we're all friends here. So it looks like this is going to be my daily draw decks for September. Maybe the Drowning World can start to become a little less frequent, but I just feel like I'm adding this one in. Like, I don't feel like this is going away. I feel like the Carnival is simply coming in. So yeah, that's what we've got for September. I'd love to hear if you choose decks for the month, if you just let them come and go, how you work with the months and decks. So have a lovely day, friends, and I'll see you soon.